And so I went up to, because I'd heard that the rainbow serpent, the story of the rainbow serpent that I heard was that the rainbow serpent went up to Cape York and was listening to voices on the wind as the rainbow serpent tried to find its home tribe. And I went up to Cape York and visited a friend of mine called Victor Stephenson, and I had in mind to actually record a whole bunch of voices, sort of indigenous voices at Cape York, and then create some kind of echoing voices on the wind effect as the rainbow serpent listened for the languages of the Cape. And I went up to explain this to Victor, and Victor had no idea what I was talking about at all, which was pretty funny. And I felt like a real idiot, actually, because I was trying to explain this concept that was just so... I just felt... It was very strange. But Victor sort of kept me up there for about 3 days, and we ended up composing out the middle section of this, which was the Cape York sort of sequence. And I was just coming up with all this stuff, and I said, well, it's all about this, and it's all about this, and it's all this. And he goes, and he just looked at me. It's really funny. And anyway, the long story short is it ended up getting simpler and simpler over time. And he just said, he said, so it's all about the feel of the land. He said, it's not something you can just, anyway. I wanted to add this. He said no. I was learning a lot, but in the end, we came up with, after this long build-up, with the version of the Australia theme that forms the Dreamtime. I tried to create a sound world of what I thought Port Jackson would be, and it consisted of 3 things. It consisted of the fife and drum, it consisted of the Aboriginal ensemble, the Sydney ensemble.
You know, it's called Symphony of Australia, so it only stands to reason that you would have Indigenous Australians, you'd have representatives from other nationalities who now call Australia home.
Passionate about it, wasn't he? The way he speaks about it, that. He really wants us to be in it and wants our voice to be heard, so to speak, in song but also in appearance and that, so I full credit to him.
The music itself is actually really nice, and you can really hear, I can hear the, with the piece that we do, the waves and crashing, and you can actually imagine being there on that point when you're hearing music. And
I was pretty nervous because I'd trained as a singer, and I was having to play the piano with the Sydney Symphony. Not with the Sydney Symphony, but directly in front of a whole bunch of musos that I was a bit scared of, actually. And I remember playing and John English reading, and I finished and I had to walk off backstage, and I was the most nervous about this movement because it's the hardest one. And I remember walking back down through the stage and walking up the stairs on the side because I was going to have a peek around and watch what was happening. And I heard things happening in the orchestra that were that I wasn't sure if it was working, and I was trying to listen through doors, and I was walking up and down this staircase and just walking back and forth like a crazy person.
Bennelong, the Aboriginal name for this place is Tobba Gully. So the white clay that we wear tonight is significant of this area. It was an ochre quarry, and then it was also a home to Bennelong, who was a Wongal man. So the fact that we can come back and hopefully let the ancestors know that we're still around and we're still paying our respects to them, that's what it's about for us.
Yeah.
And it was as simple as that, and that was what the Dreamtime movement became in the end.